Hey there, superstar. Welcome to How to Cultivate Spiritual Leadership for Business Transformation. First, I'm going to dive a little bit into why spiritual leadership may be beneficial for business transformation. Then I'm going to talk a little bit about what I mean by spiritual, and it may not be what you think. And then finally, I'm going to share some ways how you can integrate spiritual leadership into your business and into the business transformation that you bring to others as a leader, a mentor, and a coach. First, let's get into a little bit about why this might be beneficial for you and for the people you serve. Essentially, spirituality brings greater meaning, greater purpose, and greater fulfillment to pretty much everything that it touches. When people feel more fulfilled, they have more meaning, they tend to work harder, they tend to stretch themselves more, they tend to show up in a bigger way, more committed, and ultimately everybody wins when people show up in that way. Many people might think I'm talking about religion, and I'm absolutely not. When I talk about spirituality, what I mean by it and why it's relevant in pretty much any and every business is simply that which is greater than the individual. Spiritual, by my definition in my book and the way that I'm using it here, is really just about tapping into something greater. For example, one of the things that drives me in my business is my commitment to uplifting humanity. I believe that the work that we do as coaches uplifts all of humanity. I believe that things like energy matters. I believe that the way that we show up, the heart that we bring to things, the love and connection that we cultivate in ourselves, we bring into our businesses and we bring into the world. That's spiritual because it's something beyond the physical, tangible aspects of life. And so spirituality can mean a whole bunch of things. It doesn't absolutely ever have to mean religion. And in fact, to some degree, religion is a way of structuring and organizing spirituality that in this day and age is starting to change and shift. And even there's been more spirituality brought into religion. So I'm not going to dive into that because that's a touchy subject. And so when we bring in spiritual practices into business transformation, it can look like ways of opening the heart, of creating deeper connection and empathy, activating compassion, gratitude, feelings of abundance. It can look like having a shared purpose or a mission. Ultimately, though, what I feel that all spiritual practices have in common is that they are uplifting, that they are inspiring, that they are adding to greater connection rather than greater separation. All right, so that's how I define it. That's how I'm looking at it. Based on my definition, you can probably already start to see, wow, this could be really beneficial in business. And why isn't every business doing this? And in fact, a lot of businesses are doing it. They're just not calling it spirituality. They're doing meditation workshops. They're teaching their people how to cultivate gratitude and having gratitude journals. There's all sorts of spiritual practices that are making their way into the business world. Now, I personally have had a big initiation, a big transformation around this topic. When I went away to college at about 19 years old, I decided that I was an agnostic and I was an atheist and I didn't have any spiritual beliefs. I rejected religion and I basically called myself considered myself secular, right? Someone who just believed in science and mathematics and didn't really hold any beliefs outside of that. Fast forward 20 years after college and in the beginning of the earlier years of my business, maybe 5, 6, 7 years into my business when I had this big breakdown, I met a mentor who basically introduced me to this new concept of spirituality, this new way of looking at spirituality and integrating it into business. So mindset work, energy work, healing work, energetic clearing work, spiritual alchemy, all these things I got introduced to. And as a result of him kind of forcing me actually to focus in these areas that I had rejected and resisted for so long, I had the kind of transformation in my life that naturally just activated all these different areas of my business. And I was shocked. I'm like, why didn't I know this? Why didn't I know that I could focus on my personal and spiritual development and see the impact in my business? And so recently I've started to infuse that recently in the last 7 or 8 years, infuse that into my coaching And lo and behold, my clients are also flourishing much more as well, right? Their businesses are evolving, but even more importantly, their souls are evolving. They're more joyful. They're enjoying what they do. They're feeling more fulfilled, more purpose-driven. Now, I'm about to dive into how you can do this, but before I do, I want to take a moment and invite you to please subscribe to my channel, like this video, comment below. I'd love to hear about your spiritual journey and how it's woven its way into your business. So the first thing that you can do to activate spiritual leadership for business transformation is to start to just share the bigger context for everything that you're doing. So instead of, for example, this is a little example, writing a marketing piece about the services you provide and your value proposition, I say, look at that marketing piece and ask yourself, what's the greater purpose of this marketing piece? Why am I writing this? Why does this matter? Why do these people need this? And from that place, sharing that in the marketing piece. What is the purpose? Why are you doing it? What is the bigger why? I found that when you start to take a more spiritual perspective and start to share that spiritual perspective, it's very activating for your perfect people. It's like a siren song. It's like a signal that cuts through the clutter and finds its way to your perfect people when you start to share the bigger purpose. And I'm saying this because a lot of times people will do the marketing piece and keep the spiritual purpose piece to themselves. And I'm saying, come out of the closet. Share the bigger why, share your mission, share what you're up to and why you're doing it, why this marketing piece matters to this person. The second thing I invite you to do is to make room in your business for emotions. One of the things that I've found, I've been in the workplace now, 26 years. I found that people tend to try to separate business from emotions. They try to, create this wall between okay, this is professional and this is not professional. And I'm inviting you to tear down that wall and allow things to get a little more blurry. Allow yourself to feel and to infuse the feeling into your conversations, into your marketing pieces, into your videos, whatever you're doing, allowing yourself to heighten emotion, to expand your emotional range and bandwidth of what you're willing to express, and to share more from a more heightened emotional place. Not to keep those emotions kind of bottled away and be like, oh, I'm in business mode now, so here's how I'm gonna show up, and then over here is how I show up in family mode or emotion mode. One of the most powerful things that I've seen recently, I was in a mastermind group, actually right here in this house, and I saw one of the mastermind members, while he was sharing his mission, he teared up and he had a few tears flow down his face. And I found it to be so activating, and so did the other people here. I felt like I wanted to support this guy. Look at how much he cares about his business and about his clients. So make room for the emotions, the things that you perhaps thought are not professional. The third thing is going to seem a little odd, perhaps. I don't know. It was odd to me when I thought of it, but it just felt true, which is start to incorporate more symbolism and talismans into your business. What I mean by that, here's an example. Whenever a client enrolls in my Superstar Inner Circle program, one of the things we do is we give them a necklace that has a star on it. And then every year thereafter, we add a star to the necklace. So I have a client, Leanne, who you may have heard of, and she's got 8 stars on her necklace and she wears it with pride. Now, it's a nice gift. It's a nice thing to have, but more importantly, it's a symbol. And I feel that there's a really important place for symbology in business where we infuse objects or talismans or things with the energy of it. So with the energy of welcome, appreciation, and honoring, right? So what are symbols that are meaningful for you? For me, the star and the heart and the star together, that's my logo. These are 2 really important symbols. I use them in my when I sign off on text messages. I give the stars away to my clients, the stars on my logo. I talk about superstars. That is a way of infusing energy into this symbol that I can then move the symbol around. I can put a star on something and boom, there's the energy infused into the thing. So I invite you to consider, what are the symbols that matter to you? What are the ways that you can convey and infuse all of your love and your purpose and your intention into 1 or 2 symbols or gifts or things that you can then placed strategically throughout your business. So that's it. I hope that you've enjoyed this video about how to activate more spiritual leadership in service of business transformation. If you'd like to connect with me and you're feeling like you'd like a mentor who can help you activate your spiritual leadership in your business, then let's connect. You can find out more about my programs and services at superstarbusinessbreakthrough.com.